The following is a presentation of Geekster Media.
Hello there, and welcome to another edition of Thrift Store Horde. We are back, and we are loaded. Yes, not the way you're thinking. No, we got tons of thrift store treasures that we have been collecting. So I'm Adam. We got Kevin.
Hey.
We got Chris.
Yo.
So this is the thing I gotta tell you guys. So, in like the 3 weeks leading up to this video, I was like, I got nothing. And I hadn't made it out to the thrift store. I kept trying and stuff was getting in the way. And I'm just like, I'm gonna have nothing to share next time around. And then just this last week, I managed to, make my rounds to my stores. And I was just like, oh, there was stuff waiting for me. Okay. So this is good. I don't know how your hunting's been going. Chris, you been hitting up some shows?
Yeah, I hit up a flea market a couple weekends ago. We have the Polk County Flea Market happens the first Sunday of every month. So I got up early, checked it out, got there before half the dealers because I went to the early bird. They weren't all set up, but I found some cool stuff there. And then last weekend I went to the Northwest's largest garage sale, which is a flea market in Ridgefield, Washington, and it's hundreds of flea market dealers. And I loaded up there, and then I hit all my normal haunts too throughout the last couple weeks. So I am not accomplishing the goal of removing stuff. I've added a lot more stuff than I've removed recently.
It's how it goes. It's how it goes indeed. Kevin, where have you been shopping?
Adam, I will save it until my last round to tell you all about one place because I almost called you actually for the last place I went to. Yes. The usual spots are just drying up. The area just is not having it. The rumor is some of the thrift stores are shipping them off to other stores in their chains in other cities. And I kind of think that's what's happening. So I'm doing a little experiment where I have donated things and I know what they are and seeing when and where they pop up in my travels.
You got some irradiated paperbacks and you'll test them.
I had a bunch of books that all had the same mark on the spine for it. So I donated about 5 boxes of them. I've only seen one out in the wild so far. And in my area. So as I travel to other areas, because like I'm gonna go up and see my mom for Mother's Day and stuff like that, and as I go around, I'll see what pops up.
Okay,
I'm conducting a little experiment here, see what I find.
Just
or what finds
pans out. Well, great. All right, guys. Well, let's get started here. I want to start off with just like I said, I went to the store I hadn't been to in a while, and they like for a while all of the thrift stores in the area said like we're not doing VHS anymore. VHS, we're not going to stock it. It's only Disney, and that's all you'll get. Giant Disney clamshells. And I was like, man, but something happened at the beginning of the year. I think like all the old management moved on, and so now the new people are just like throw whatever we have up there, and I'm like, yes, this is what I want. So I walked into the store and just piles of new VHS, like literal piles that they had not had for so long. They had a shopping cart at the front door, free VHS. They're just like, just take it, please. So I'm digging through that. So I'll show you some of the things I found here. First off, this is a film that I know my dad loved. Every dad loves Smokey and the Bandit, right? So I've never seen it. I had to check it out. The funny thing is when I see Smokey and the Bandit, the logo on there reminds me of the Street Fighter movie logo. But anyway, Bowfinger, I love this movie. This was one of my like core titles in the 90s that I just watched over and over again that got lost. So rebuilding there. This one here, Crossworlds. So as you can see there, this is a screener tape. Of a strange Rutger Hauer Josh Charles film. Interested to see how that one plays out. Had to grab a CBS Fox when I saw it. So this is Our Man Flint, one of those James Bond wannabes from back in the day. I think it's James Coburn, if I remember right. Then there was a ton of kids tapes, which is what we're always on the lookout for, right? So of course you had some DuckTales. This was a weird one. This is like some old anime that they brought over in the 80s. And the thing about this, I've seen one of these tapes before. Evil Catilia, it's called Z-Force Presents. The Princess Aurora is captured by Catila, who hates Aurora's beauty and plans to make her ugly. But Porcos comes to the rescue and is the hero of the day. I'm just like, there's something going on here, but look at the tape. What is
Ooh.
this? Yeah, no viewing plastic there. It's just a flat tape. That's what got my attention. An Inspector Gadget tape. My 5-year-old has been playing with my old Inspector Gadget toy, and he loves watching our clamshell VHS. We have kids songs. I did not have this one. Whenever I can grab them, I do. But I do like that it's a ViewMaster release. I always thought that was interesting. ViewMaster Video. They had that thing for a while. How about a little Adventures in Wonderland? I don't know. I used to love this show. I'd watch it before school on the Disney preview weeks. Got a couple of Ernest tapes. So I got Ernest Saves Christmas with a lot of sticker tape on it, and then Ernest Rides Again. So he's a little Babysitter's Club, just another series that was big to me as a kid. This was part of a deal, as you can see here, a garage sale deal. Like, okay. This is an interesting one. A Just for Kids video, but it's like Elm Chanted Forest is the name of this. Some strange animated feature I'd never heard of before. So we'll see where that goes. This was unique. Kellogg's Pop-Tarts comedy video featuring Paula Poundstone? What in the world is... I don't know. I assume this was like a mail away item, or maybe like if you bought enough packs of Pop-Tarts in the store, they gave it to you. All right. We had a Pink Panther Christmas here, so that'll be good when December rolls around. And then a bunch of Power Rangers tapes. So sticking with Christmas, I'm Dreaming of a White Ranger. We have another in the Green Ranger saga. We have this one here, the Wannabe Ranger. I had this already, but this was a nicer copy. But I just love all the different types of tape designs. The series that they were putting out. This is another one I already had, but nicer copy. So another Just for Kids with Rude Dog, which is just the most 90s looking tape. It's great. Late 80s. This was cool. So I also already have this tape, but my youngest has been loving Mr. Bill. We made our own Mr. Bill. And I was like, why did I have to order this online like 3 months ago? Like I could have just, I could have just waited. I would have found it. This one right here. Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. Of course, I already have a copy, but this is a later release because if you look at this white border, there's not a white border usually, and also it's a cheaper style of label. But this is really interesting. This one was a 1994 release. I have the original, now I have this. So I like having those variants. Been watching the shelves for this. Beavis and Butthead Do America. Saw it in theaters. Gotta have it. Got the soundtrack even still. Dead Funny. I was just like, I don't know if it's going to be funny at all, but it's an Andrew McCarthy. I want to see more Andrew McCarthy films. Can't all just be Mannequin. How about this one? I'm pretty sure it's a previously viewed, but a sealed copy. So it says of Munchie. Actually, now that I'm looking on it, the seal is not broken there. So this is an original sealed copy of Munchie. I believe Dom DeLuise does the voice for this strange character there. Speaking of Dom DeLuise, Going Bananas from Canon Films. Who knows what that one's about? Okay, we're almost done here. I hit the jackpot. These rock videos are just collections of music videos. They're pretty interesting here. This one has like Radiohead on it. This one has a Pantera on it. I'm just like, you guys will appreciate this. The Captain America serials, the double tape set. I remember they're like this, and the Captain Marvel one were in our local library. I checked them out back in the day. That's awesome to own that now. Another CBS Fox, so Secret Garden. 3 Cheech and Chong films. So Up in Smoke, Still Smoking, and Next Movie. So I actually bought these right around 420, so it was appropriate. Eddie Murphy, Delirious. This is classic stand-up. Also, this one, the David Bowie film, The Man Who Fell to Earth. I've always heard about it, never seen it. And the last one's here, just real quick. I did get some clamshells. So there was a Goosebumps with the Haunted Mask, a Dragon Ball Z clamshell, which was interesting. But most interesting of all to me was this Mighty Ducks the movie. So this is kind of like the pilot movie that launched it. But what's interesting is the size. Look how much smaller that is. I didn't know they did these tiny clamshells. I didn't recall those dimensions. So that really stood out to me. So anyway, that is my VHS haul. Who wants to take the next round?
I'll go because I have a question or well, not a question, but follow-up thought. Those music video ones, I have a weird memory of like a Suncoast video or something like that that would play those videos, but they'd have like the CDs or cassettes or whatever for the era right below it. So like you see the video of like, oh, here's this thing, I want to buy the album too. And that was like their promo thing. I don't know if it was supposed to be for that or they just were smart.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'll do it that way. I'm just trying to think. All right. I took a chance. They're random. They were not labeled at all. The VCR I still have, if the tab's in, it won't recognize it. But if I pop the tab out, it'll play automatically. I don't know why. But honestly, like if I was actually going to use it and tape over something and record something, I'll put tape over this. Like I remember that trick, you know? Yeah. One, as far as I can tell, is a St. Patrick's Day parade. Like the NBC airing of, I don't know, Boston or whatever. And the other one is a bunch of stuff from Nick Jr. And it's recorded off of someone who had DirecTV, because there's a ton of DirecTV commercials and then the regular Nick Jr. commercials. And then, hi, I'm Face, you know, doing stupid stuff. That's as far as I just have briefly checked. Yes, Adam, there are commercials.
Ooh, yeah.
So, yeah. I found this and I knew I didn't have volume 3. I can't be like our friend Will West. I cannot have a basement full of dead media. But ones that matter. My kid and I watching all the DC stuff, you know, comic things, wrestling things, like the ones that matter, I'm willing to have physical media backup. So that Superman the Animated Series Volume 3, I had Volume 1 and 2 like 15 years ago or whatever. So yeah, that. I have this VHS. I have this on DVD as well. But I never saw this version of the clamshell, and I don't know if it was like a replacement clamshell or if it was actually released. But G.I. Joe the movie in like a yellow clamshell.
Yeah.
So and it's like it's sun beaten, weather beaten, whatever. You know, it's got the ripples. Like maybe it was up in a window for a while. Back looks fantastic though. So that's what. Hang on, angle there. So that's what makes me feel like it was in a window or propped up or something. Tape seems fine, a little weathered, but you know, overall all right. And it just, the only thing on this is like US patent. It's nothing that says, you know, movie studio or anything. So I don't know. It could have just been like slip this out because the regular case was damaged. I have no idea. There's a pawn shop a couple blocks away from work, and I've never had good luck there. Lot of used video games. Like majority of the store probably is used video games, and then it's like musical instruments and stuff like that. And I'm like, I mean, great if that's what you're looking for, but it's not what I'm looking for. But today was nice. I was taking a walk, you know, like let me just see. And I found some their comic bin is just like on the floor. You know, like it's getting trashed, it's getting destroyed. I'm not gonna actually find anything. But if stuff is oversized, it kind of doesn't get destroyed as much. And then it was like the guy just wanted to get rid of them. So it was pennies practically. So I found the X-Men Files from Comic File, which looks like, I mean, as soon as you look at that, I'm like, is this a zine? You know, like it looks super, so it's from 86, presented by Comic File magazine. And like the art inside eventually, like they must have gotten permission at some point because the art is all right, but like they're talking about the Roy Thomas years for X-Men, and they have this long interview with him in there. I was like, well, this looks really interesting, but then like that art is total zine art for that.
Yeah.
Like just very curious about it. So I'll do something with it. I'm not sure. Chris, I don't know if you're familiar. Many years ago, before like Retro Network Geekster stuff like that, a lot of us in this blogging circle were part of the League of Extraordinary Bloggers. It's run by a Cool and Collected blog. And one month, I don't know how he pulled it off, but we all were able to get like catalogs from this auction house if we wanted it. And just the monthly prompt was write an article about what you would buy out of this catalog. And I still have mine, but you know, these like those auction catalogs are usually very expensive to just buy on a whim. But damn if there wasn't one in that bin though. So this is the Heritage Auctions from August 5th and 6th, 2010 Dallas, and it was all comics and comic art auction. So I mean, it's just got like all the pictures and everything of what was up for sale at that auction. Now I remember the one from way back when had promo art for an animated series and toy line that never happened. So in the auction was like this art for an abandoned dead project. So I don't know if I'll find like something that we're unaware of in here. So I had to take a chance. And then I don't know what this is. I've never seen it before. I've showed it on the show over the years of I'll find comics history books that like libraries used to have or schools used to have or whatever. I've never seen this one before. It is the Penguin Book of Comics. And I have never ever seen this one, didn't even know it existed. So it is from 1967 was the original one. This is a reprint from 71.
Whoa.
And it's got, you know, actual reprints of stuff. It has history in it as well. I mean, it's like a ton of information. It does include Marvel. It goes up to, you know, recent at the time, but absolutely fascinating for it. So I can't wait to just, you know, discover things in here. So yeah, Adam, I do usually make sure that these are safe when I find random stuff, but I wasn't fearful of this one. But I mean, like, so it was $4.95 when it came out, no barcode, no nothing on it or anything. But like, there's no library stamp on it either, though. So I have no idea where.
Yeah, that's a real
originally.
interesting piece.
Yeah. So I'll find some history in these. All right, that is it for that round.
Okay, Chris, let's see.
All right, so we'll in honor of 420. Find at the bins. I found this awesome copy of Reefer Madness. Not a very rare VHS, but I feel like I've sold 4 or 5 of these copies over the years at different shows. They usually don't last very long at flea markets because there's always a college kid or school kid that wants to grab them. I grabbed this copy of Heathers. It's a version I've never seen before. I thought it looks really dark. Normally the ones I see are very 80s fied. This I feel is probably 90s. But my kid's been wanting to watch it, so we might maybe we'll watch it on VHS instead of streaming. Couple other ones that were interesting. Some extreme sports. We have Fox Terra Firma 4. Some motocross videos. I usually grab stuff like that. Same with this, the 4.2 VM. So basically skateboarding videos from 411, or I guess it's 411 VM, 411 magazine skateboarding videos. A copy of the TV play along of Wheel of Fortune.
That's fun.
Volume 2. Apparently it was so popular you needed 2 volumes. Copy of The Witches.
Oh,
I've never seen it. it's on my list of things I'd like to see. I'm thinking, I don't know if it's one of the scary movies of the youth. I've never seen it, so I'm looking forward to checking that out. Uh, Suburbia
Oh,
by the filmmaker of Dazed and Confused. So it's instead of the 70s, it's the 90s slackers. Never seen this one, and looking forward to checking that out. I got a couple buddies that we're gonna try to do a VHS party one of these days. Also found some DVDs. Who doesn't love Tanya Roberts? Never seen Sheena, but for $1, I figured I had to pick it up. I'm sure it's high art.
It really missed out on the Oscars that year.
that's right.
Yeah, rough. It was a robbery. I got this sealed Blu-ray of Dune for like $2, and if I can find a Blu-ray that's still brand new in the box for $2, I'll usually grab it, especially if it's a movie I like. Toy Soldiers.
Oh,
Don't know if either of you are familiar. I got some caps mixed up because they're both military schools and things gone awry. But this is the one with Sean Astin, not Tom Cruise. And then Red Sonja, which has been on my Amazon list. I just haven't pulled the trigger for the longest time to add to the Sword and Sorcery. Also at the flea market, I was wandering around. There's always tons of VHS and DVD, not VHS as much, but always DVDs, tons of DVDs. And I was looking, just sort of glancing through one at the small flea market I was at. And I noticed this. It wasn't a DVD, but it was a GameCube game, Luigi's Mansion. So I asked how much they wanted for it, and they said $2. And I couldn't pay them fast enough. Unfortunately, the disc is pretty hacked. I don't know if you can see it, but it's been through some things. So I have some people I know own a game store, and they do refurbishing discs there. So I'm going to take it and see if I can pay a couple bucks and see if I can get it to work. I mean, it's a $50 game normally, so getting that spending $2 was a decent enough gamble, even though the game was sort of beat up. And then I'll go into a couple miscellaneous. You mentioned Viewmaster, Adam.
mm-hmm.
So I picked up this Secret of Nim Viewmaster set, and you notice it's cut, and I thought that was like somebody cut it to open it, but I was looking, and a lot of dead stock is cut like that too on a bunch of the other, not sealed of these, but sealed Viewmaster tapes. So I don't know whether they were just, if it was overstock and that's how they marked them by cutting them out, sort of like I've seen done with records and stuff before, or if it's just the way they were. But like originally I thought it was opened and taken out and just saved, but I think I think that's just sort of how the person bought it. It came from a thing. The interesting one is I've looked all over the place on like eBay trying to find this set, and I can't find this set on eBay. So I have no idea if it's rare or if it's just nobody's selling it. But I love Secret of Nim, so I had to grab it when I saw it. And then something I was thinking of you, we just missed it because February is a few months, Adam, but will you bat my Valentine? I know you're a fan of the live action Batman movies, and I saw that I had to grab it. I always grab Valentine's stuff too.
Oh,
anyway,
you gotta, yeah.
So I will pass it off to you for now.
Okay. I'm gonna do a little bit of music and books here. So last time around, you guys will recall, I got this Babysitter's Club book that had all these like fake letters and postcards and stuff in it. Well, this time around, I was able to pick up just the official postcard book. So this is just basically the covers of the books, but as postcards that you could, send out. So, it's just kind of interesting to get that collection of the cover art. Unfortunately, like 3 or 4 of the postcards were actually taken out and used, but you do get a nice shot of the author there. So there's Ann M. Martin. This was really cool. So a junior novelization of The Karate Kid Part 2. It tells you it has well, this is the Columbia Pictures, but it tells you it has 20 photos from the film. Usually, like, I feel like they have color photos in the middle, but these are all like black and white photos, just like mixed in with out, which is actually more helpful, I think, when you're reading, when they're relevant. They're Sato. Anyway, this one I've found before, but never in such great condition. So this is what I definitely had as a kid. But yeah, I think a lot of people had this, but it's just the pop outs, everything's in great shape. Nothing is like damaged in any way. So it's just a beautiful copy. Uh, you guys know me, I'm probably on a list somewhere, but when I see a book that's giving advice to teen girls, I grab it. I still want my daughter. I'm just like, look, you're 8 now. But in like 5 more years, I'm going to slide this under your door and you tell me what you think. I want you to write a report about it, you know? um, this is what I grabbed. So this is Valley of the Dinosaurs. I don't remember this cartoon, but I have grabbed in the past this Wheelie cartoon, which is another one I don't remember, but this book. So this era of Hanna-Barbera, I'm just not familiar with, but I wanted to get an idea of what that was about because I saw it on the back cover. I know plenty about Pound Puppies though. So this is another one that I got one recently that was similar to this that I think some of them were giveaways like in stores with like fabric softener or something like that. So if I see a Teddy Ruxpin, I gotta grab it, go along with my tape collection. This one was interesting. An Annie activity book. So not a storybook, but there's like weird, like I think that's supposed to be Miss Hannigan right there. But there's just a lot of different types of activities to do in there just based on the world of Annie. So that was kind of cool. I don't think I shared this last time, but Meltdown at the Wax Museum, a little Animaniacs book. So this is kind of cool. It says it's a special edition on the back. I don't know according to who, but this one, I wanted to know which came first. Is it Casper or is it Gus was a friendly ghost? Because look at that, guys. Because this, I believe, is from the 60s. Let me double check here again. Yeah, 1961. So I don't know. I just thought that was either a really good ripoff or interesting thing. This is the last one, though, here. Much like Kevin's book finds, this is one that I definitely would have checked out from either my elementary school library or the local public library as a kid and just devoured because it is Mo Howard and the Three Stooges. This is an illustrated history of the Three Stooges ghost written by somebody else probably, but by Mo Howard, as you can see there. So this is in his words. And he talks all about Shemp and Curly and Larry and everybody else. Joe, Curly Joe at the end there. So I'm very, very interested. I will be reading this just in my off time, just for fun. But yeah, then I just have a few tapes. It's been real dry for tapes and records in my area, but I did manage to grab 3 80s tapes here. So we got the Thompson Twins. I don't think this had any of their hits on it, but a Lionel Richie album. I was just watching that We Are the World documentary on Netflix, which is fascinating. If you guys haven't watched that, it's really cool and how involved he was. And also we have Hall & Oates, Private Eyes. So, but what am I going to keep them in? How about this super 80s checkerboard case? This is just like, it's got the spot in there for the tapes, but it's just beautiful design, the color of it all. It says local by BMI, local 3 or 4. I don't know. I don't know what this is trying to tell me, but I feel like there is some hipster 18-year-old college student that wants this right now. And maybe I'll hang on to it for a little while longer, but then I'll pass it along. Yes, Chris.
I
You want it.
I'm not a hipster college student, but that thing is amazing.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, Kevin.
All right. So I can't remember. Did I mention that? Can't remember if I mentioned it. There every year for Christmas for the last couple of years, I've gone to this like antique mall. Everyone's got like their 10-foot booths, whatever thing, and found something amazing for my mom the last few years. Like it's purposely I wait all the other shopping's done and then I make a trip to this store because I know something's there waiting for me at this point. And I was just like, oh, let's just see what's going on there. And their booths changed so much. Like they had a room that was VHS at one point, and now there's like crap in front of the door that you can't even get into that room. And it looks like it's just abandoned. And like there's always stuff going on. I'm sure there's a whole world of drama with all the sellers and everything. I'm not getting involved. But I was like, let's walk around and see what I can find. So I found the stars of Beverly Hills 90210. Oh. Their lives and loves. I found Flash Gordon and the Ice Monster. So I love these little, pulpy ones that just look cool. I don't think I ever showed it on here. I don't think I did. So there is, like, when James Bond was huge and Man from U.N.C.L.E. and stuff like that, there was a series of adult novels that would parody it. And I remember growing up, and I didn't think adults swore. I didn't think movies had swear words in them. I didn't think movies discussed, like, sex or anything like that. And then you find out they just covered it up a lot more, but they still had trash, just like we have trash. So I randomly found, I was not looking for this, but this is my ridiculous find for this episode. The Man from Orgy, instead of the Man from U.N.C.L.E., the 9-month caper.
Wow.
So it is just, it's doing like your 60s spy stuff or whatever, but with an adult, they don't imply that he's with, the Bond girl, the whatever of the week. They flat out tell you what's going on. So yeah, they're absolute trash and everything, but they're fun. Now, the one I found beforehand, if I had, like, I found it for a quarter at a library book sale forever ago. My God, I remember reading it when my kid was an infant. Like, I finally sat down to read it and all. I found it for a quarter. If it was actually in good shape, it's like $100 book. Like, these just trash. Like, this one isn't, but I had to grab it. It's absolute ridiculous trash. Speaking of ridiculous trash, comic books. So I showed off some digests before they didn't know existed. I didn't know they had G.I. Joe digest.
Oh.
Yeah. So it looks like it's just single issue. It really looks like direct market style, honestly. I mean, I'm sure it's not, but that's what it looks like. So we got like back cover art too. That almost reminds me, like, it says it's October number 12. Now, I don't know everything from my Marvel G.I. Joe, but I know that's not issue 12. But it reprints the exact issue, just smaller. And I have no idea if I compared and contrasted, like, the full size issues, if stuff's missing or what, but it says it includes content from issues 32, 33, and 34 of it. And I can't read that date. I'm too old. There's a date down here. I'm sure it said something in the 80s.
That's really
my uncles might be next. But I mean, like, I had to. That was just so cool. They actually had a bunch of them, so it looks like they did this for a while. Honestly, and I've done this rant before, I think other than Archie, other comics companies should just have stuff like this at the checkout registers. They're like Pokemon ones or Spider-Man or whatever. And what got me was the guy was like, I don't feel like that should be there. I was like, well, tough. It's not your booth. Shazam from the 40s to the 70s, giant hardcover.
Whoa.
Yeah. And the guy was like, I feel like that should be, like, behind one of the glass cases or something. I'm like, well, it's not. It's not my bad. So, I mean, I knew it was going to be black and white. Like, there's no way they would reprint them all color. But, like the term graphic novel didn't even exist yet. I don't even think we were calling them trade paperbacks yet. So it's all Shazam. Well, that surprised me. So I didn't realize there's some color in there too.
It's like walking
Oh.
out the door in The Wizard of Oz. All of a sudden, there's some
Yeah.
color.
I don't know if either of you guys have ever read old Shazam Captain Marvel stuff. Absolutely fascinating. Like it is just, let's have fun. Let's just throw stuff against the wall. Let's just go nuts. Let's not worry about continuity. Like, yeah, this dust jacket's a little beat up. Oh well, I don't care. But like, even that would have looked great. I would have put that on a shelf. Having dust jacket 2 does not hurt any. And this one, let's see, Harmony Books, 1977. And again, no library stickers or anything on it. So like someone's private collection. I got the back cover and the dust jacket are stuck together, so we got some age issues. Whatever. I'm sure that just is, the back covers can be like, the author lives in New Jersey with his dog, so I'm not worried about that. But oh my gosh, I love the comic history stuff. We go about it 2 different ways, but we're taking the same paths here. All right, that is that for that one. I will have one more after, and that is the Adam one.
Great. All right, that is really cool. All right, Chris, let's see it, buddy.
All right. Well, one of the places I went to, I've gone to a bunch of different places. I hit up a Goodwill. I picked up some books from Goodwill, like always. One of the places I went to is a place called Bob's Books on the coast. And it is just this giant used book labyrinth. Like, it's just bookshelves where you'll wander and all of a sudden you don't know where in the store you are because they've turns and corners. It's the most amazing place. They also have lots of other stuff that aren't books, but for the most part, it's all book related. And I ended up spending a lot of money there because I love books. But we'll get started with some of my Goodwill finds. Went to a Goodwill and I got Garfield's Thanksgiving. Here Comes Garfield. And this is an interesting one that I've never seen before. Garfield, Babes and Bullets. And it's sort of like a noir book rather than comic strip. And these are all based on specials. This one I don't know about, but the other 2 are specials. They had a huge run of those little Garfield books there, but I didn't. At $3 a pop, I decided I was going to be choosy instead of picking them all up at the time. My one wrestling related thing, found Ric Flair's biography. Have no idea if it's any good.
So, where was the store again?
This is a Goodwill find in Salem.
Okay.
The other
okay.
store that I'm going to be talking about in a minute, where I got most of the stuff, was out on the coast in Lincoln City.
Because I don't have that book anymore, because an ex-girlfriend's house on the West Coast, it was left there. And I'm sure she didn't keep it. I'm sure no one in her family kept it. So it may have made its way along the West Coast for you.
Could be. That'd be fun. I wish you would have wrote your name in it. It would have been easier to check.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so funny.
So we'll move in. Found a Goosebumps book. As always grabbing Goosebumps. Eventually I'll have the full run, and then I can actually figure out which ones I need and don't, and get rid of them all. Always looking for youth horror. So Apple Horror, Railway Ghosts and Highway Horrors by Daniel Gohan. Looked interesting. Always grab them if I find them for cheap, and this one was right at the right price point. I've been on a kick for motion picture adaptation novelizations. I was listening to, who is it, Sean Robert and his podcast, where sometimes they do talk about the novels.
Yeah, Cult Film Club and I Read Movies with
Cult
Paxton
Film Club and I Read Movies, Paxton. And they sort of, I'm a person that, like, if I hear something cool, I go, oh, I'll do that too. And then I start picking up, and now I have a giant novelization collection that I've been building up. So I always grab them when I see them. So Star Trek, The Voyage Home, Varsity Blues, Dick Tracy. And then this one, I couldn't grab it fast enough. I was so surprised to see it because I knew this had a little bit of value. It's sort of beat up, but it's still hard to find. The Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So this was a 50-cent find, so I figured for 50 cents it was well worth it. Like the old ones, they always have the color pictures in the middle. Definitely worth adding to the collection. Another fun one I found, a Charlie Brown Christmas. I've never seen it in this format before. And it reads horizontal. Just an interesting little full color paperback. I love Charlie Brown Christmas. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. So I had to snag that. Then I grabbed always picking up old Dungeons and Dragons novels. Greyhawk. This one was $4, but I don't have much Greyhawk stuff, so I started adding to that line. Spent a little bit more on this one, Indiana Jones and the White Witch. Just basically continuing adventures of Indiana Jones. These ones usually are a little spendy, but it was pretty nice looking. And when I saw it, is it already in its nice sealed little baggie, so I knew it was going to cost me a little bit more because they didn't want to put the sticker directly on the book like their other books, but it's in really nice condition. I was glad to grab that. One thing I love is choose your own adventure books, and I also like the obscure ones. So I love these younger ones that when I find them, I try to grab a few. I don't have too many of them. I have a lot of the typical old white ones, but I don't have many of these bigger ones that were for younger kids, but I'm always got my eye out for them. And then, speaking of Indiana Jones, two young Indiana Jones choose your own adventure books. I didn't even realize they made those, so I had to grab them.
What's the name instead of Choose Your Own Adventure? What do they call it?
It is a choose your own adventure book.
Oh, it's official.
Oh,
Wow.
Yeah, it is. Like choose your own adventure. I got Masters of the Louvre and African Safari. Moving on to some other. We'll switch to records real quick. I didn't find too many. But I did find this Black Sabbath album. It's the one I spent like $10 on it. It's one I haven't listened to before, so it was worth grabbing for me. I don't have enough Sabbath in my collection.
Never enough Sabbath in that collection.
I know. I listen to everything though, and so I go from Sabbath to country music, and Don Williams is one of my favorite country music singers. Mainly because my dad used to listen to him when I was a kid, so it's just sort of that relaxing type of music. I don't have this album, so I'm looking forward to checking it out. I like his voice a lot. And then these ones, for the art alone, if I didn't even know what they were, I would have grabbed them. Petra. So, do you guys know who Petra is? Have you heard of Petra before? Do you know who Striper is?
Yeah.
So Striper is to Christian heavy metal. Petra is, I've heard of it referred to as ELO Christian music.
Oh.
So
That cover.
If anything, the album art is just pretty amazing. And then I went to my regular, my vintage dealer that I've talked about before, and she asked me if I was interested in some of these. She knows I like color books and activity books, and she has a bunch that have never been used, and asked if I was interested in any of them, and I said yes, I want all of them. So we ended up with Gremlins Sticker Fun, Gremlins Paint with Water.
Ooh, that's dangerous for Gremlins.
I know, right? I might multiply them. A different Gremlins Paint with Water. A Gremlins color and activity book. And then another just big stack of more Gremlins color with waters. Or sticker funds.
So are those
So-
the stickers that are like stamps that you have to wet on the back, or are they actual like stickers you peel off?
Yes, that is what they appear to be,
Mm-hmm.
or like postage
Like
stamp,
punch 'em
old school
out.
postage stamp. Punch
Yeah.
them out, lick them, or get them wet. Oh, and I had a couple more pieces of VHS that I picked up this weekend, and I completely forgot about. I never had these as a kid, but I was always jealous and always wanted them. Still don't have any of the toy line really, but Captain Power.
Cool.
So I found Captain Power VHS. Had to pick them up. I got skill level 1, skill level 2, and skill level 3. So we'll
So
see.
the ones that actually interact with the toy jet. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and then this was one of the last things I picked up at that flea market the other day, which was a Care Bears media tote, and it has books and tapes.
Oh.
Wow.
So we have Perfectly Poochie, May the Best Chipmunk Win, Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Scrabble People. So apparently there was a it's weird. I'll pull it out because I do have to share it. So the Scrabble People, because kids love people based on spelling games, apparently. Meet the Care Bears, Smurfing in the Air, and Care Bears: A World Made of Love. So just as they're transitioning away from books on record, you got the books on tape.
That's
So-
awesome. I remember that Perfectly Poochie because I always felt like she was a punk rock Miss Lion from Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. Because she had like pink tufts of ear hair or whatever her deal was, you know. So
Now I gotta
And then
find that.
I do have one last thing for media. One of my favorite dealers that I go to at the Northwest largest garage sale always has children's books. That's what her table's about, and usually they're $1 or $2. And I was happy to find all these for $1. So I got the Wuzzles. Have you snuzzled a Wuzzle today? Scowl fixes things for Croc. We got Teddy Ruxpin,
all right.
Uncle Grubby. Got Mrs. Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man's prized pupil. And I do collect Pac-Man, so I was quick to grab that. And then I was there, there's this older couple that had a big stack of books out. So bummed I didn't get there in time. And then I saw them start setting them all aside and just keeping one or two. And so I waited a little bit, and it looked like they weren't going to take them. So I asked them, I was like, are those ones you guys are getting or no? And they go, oh no, grab them. And it was a giant stack of Fraggle Rock books, hardbacks.
Ooh.
So we had No One Knows Where, it was at Gobo Goes, and Fraggle Countdown, and If I Were King of the Universe, and other titles.
Well, so Chris,
never
do you remember
I didn't realize I had that many. What's that?
last time around I had a stack of Fraggle books and it's none of those titles. We need to combine our collections.
We do. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that. My speaker went out. Decided to switch.
Yeah, you've been pretty choppy
Oh,
last little bit. So
I'm sorry about that. Well, that's all I got for media. We'll go back to you, Adam.
okay, well, I'll close out here. Like I managed to find some toys. The bag. Where's the bag? So, you know, at Goodwill, you find bags of stuff, you know, or thrift stores, and they'll just like throw them on the shelves, and it'll be like just little random figurines, you know, like I got some like, you know, a troll pencil topper, or, you know, here's a Hardee's little, you know, box of fries with sunglasses. Let me see what's the other. Here's a parachute guy, but no parachute, you know, that kind of stuff. So I was just like, whatever. But there was a lot more in that bag that was getting my attention. And one of the big things was this Tiger Spellwell device. And I was just like, I wonder if it's gonna work. Took it home, put the batteries in, it worked fine. And it's basically just like you test your spelling ability. So you just like type in it, you hit okay, and then it tells you I recognize it or I don't recognize it. So either you spelled it right or wrong, or it's not in my database. But surprisingly, my kids just took this thing, and my daughter, who's 8, who's all proud of her spelling ability, is like doing spelling all the time. And my 5-year-old knows a few words, so he's testing out his words. So it was a hit all these years later. I thought that was fun. Um, but also digging around, there was another bag at Goodwill that I was pretty excited to find because I saw some recognizable characters that I often find when I see them in a bag, they're damaged, and that is the Power Rangers. So I already have a full collection of these of this size, but I grab them when I can. Especially this one was just beautiful, no scuffs or anything. It doesn't have his gun, but that was cool. Now there was another one in there which is a smaller size because he came with the there was a motorcycle, and then the Red Ranger would ride it. But unfortunately, when I tried to move his arm, he was stiff and the arm broke off. So that was unfortunate, but I think I can put some crazy glue on that. It'll just be a fun little piece for my collection now. It happens. But also in that bag was, again, I don't find these very often. I found a few in the past, but there was a Jim the Anvil Neidhart. Yeah, there he is, a little Hasbro figure. I had to text my friend who is like dedicated to collecting all of these. He even has like the bootleg or customs, And I was like, is this like a vintage one, or is this one of the current remakes? He's like, no, that's vintage. I was like, okay, the Anvil's coming home with me. And then there was another bag that caught my attention because it had California raisins, these little wind-ups. Now, that one's in great shape. The other two, because they were in the bag with them, I just assumed, oh, they're in great shape too. No, they're missing arms or hands. So, I'll sell them for parts, or maybe I'll create some mashup terrible creature out of the pieces. But either way, it's just fun to have that piece of history there in some form or another. There's also that bag a Buster Bunny from Tiny Toon Adventures keychain, which is just kind of cool. Just tells you what era we were in, as well as California Raisins keychain. Might start just using that as my actual keychain. Then the last thing here was there were some Care Bears, but various sizes, various types. So there was that little figurine. There was one of the more action figure style. I have like the cloud car, but I didn't have this size figurine. So now I actually have someone to ride in the cloud car, which is great. But then also there were these like little porcelain figurines. There were a ton of them. So I don't know like what was going on with these. They feel like they're not a good idea for kids. Like this one is like a double and it's broken, or no, the other one is broken, but it has like a little butterfly on it. But it was just kind of cool to find those. And so it's just like, put them up in your windowsill or whatever. But they used to have like a little seal on the bottom, but obviously a kid tried to scratch off the stickers because they were gold. That's my theory. Like, gold sticker, I want it shiny. And then one more tiny little, Care Bear right there. So anyway, those are my toy finds because I don't find them very often, I feel like, but when I do, grab them if I can. So fun little collection. But Kevin, what about you? What are we closing out with here?
All right. So, around the corner from work, the store I heard about for years, but I've never gone to. I said, I need to go. And it's a record store. I'm not going down the record rabbit hole. I'm aware me saying this out loud might be used against me in the future. But right now, I'm going to say I'm not going down the record rabbit hole. But I was like, let me go and check it out, see what else they have. So I walk in, I'm just overwhelmed. It's just tons of stuff. And I see the guy working there, like older hippie looking dude. He played in a band before. He just has the store. And I was like, I've never been here before. I'm a little overwhelmed. He goes, welcome. I've been here 25 years, almost 30. The first floor that you're in right now is all rock, metal, and punk. Downstairs is all jazz. Upstairs is everything that doesn't fit. I go, all right, let's go. So just tons and tons of records, fairly priced. You know, like here's common nothing stuff, it's $1 each. Here's randomness, 25-30 bucks on average. Here's like, okay, this is rare. Like there's a famous monsters record of like monster stuff there. It's $100. I'm like, oh my god.
Wait,
so
not the Misfits album, Famous Monsters?
No, like Famous Monsters of Filmland Ackerman magazine record. I had no idea it existed. So I'm just going through like everything there. I was just like, this is so freaking cool. Again, I'm not doing records. Not doing records. He almost talked me into buying a record. So he's like, what do you like? I go, I like metal, I like weird stuff. I said, I do like podcasts and stuff with people and like the cooler, odder stuff we can find. And he brings up, it's an album, I believe the woman's called Cat. She was considered like the fastest metal guitarist at the time, 70s, 80s, whatever. He goes, she's crazy. If she finds out someone has a record of hers, she will continue to call to see if it has sold. Because she wants to know if people still care about her. He's like, I had to block her number. So I'm losing. So I see like DVDs on the back wall. I'm like, oh, let me see if there's anything cool. And behind the DVDs are all the VHS. I'm like, oh god, I'm done now. I've never seen this before in my life. Clamshell for Sean Connery in the Anderson tapes. Never even heard of it. Looks fantastic. So I had to grab that. Columbia Pictures one, and the sticker just came off of my hands.
Yeah, but that's an old Columbia Pictures logo. That's really
yeah. Never saw that before in my life. They had a bunch. This was the best looking one. Billy Jack. Which is like I didn't know about Billy Jack when I was younger. But I was just like, these are absurd. Former rental, obviously. Like, all right, cool. This was Buried. Let's see, how can I do this to tease Adam? Do this.
Come on.
Oh, what is it? What is it, Adam? What is it?
I don't know. Firestarter? I don't know what's gonna be.
It's unconceivable and unbelievable because it's tougher than leather.
Wow.
Looks pretty too.
Wow.
It's got. I thought it was sealed for a second. I'm like, it's not. That would have been awesome though. This is already claimed. My former podcast host, maybe future, if we get on the same schedule, has been looking for this for years, and prices online are ridiculous. And he's offered me a lot of his own stuff to trade because he knows I have a copy in the everything that doesn't fit room. Boom, right there in front of me. The Saturday Morning Cartoon Greatest Hits album. If you don't know about this, find it. If you do know about this, you know why it's so wonderful. It's all these punk and alternative bands doing covers of cartoon theme songs. This album's incredible.
I literally have right over here, I have the album on CD. I have the album on cassette. I have the tie-in comic book. Like I just need to find a vinyl copy.
Yeah. Because like we all watched it on, I think it was Adult Swim when they had like the little videos for it. Only
yeah, I have the video
I believe.
too. I just forgot.
Yeah, but it's so good. If you can find this, I mean, God, like that, it's awesome. If anyone can find it, grab it. You will not be disappointed. And I found this is not the final find. I just can't believe I found this. If you watch metal documentaries, if you've fallen down the rabbit hole of 80s metal and excess, and if you watch VH1 within a certain time frame, you have seen this. The Decline of Western Civilization, the Metal Years on cassette.
Wow.
I went nuts when I found this. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't even believe this is sitting here.
So what bands does it have on there? Let's hear it.
Well, thank you for asking, Adam. We have Alice Cooper, Axl Rose, Slash, and Izzy on one song. Faster Pussycat, Motorhead, Armored Saint, Lizzie Borden, Megadeth, Queensryche, Metal Church, Rigor Mortis, and Seduce.
Awesome.
Like, I had to grab it. Do I have a cassette player right now? No, but I didn't say I wasn't going down the cassette hole. So, all right. We're going to talk about 80s. We're going to talk about hair. If we're going to talk about 80s hair, Adam, I will tease, and Chris, I'll tease once again. So I was like, I don't want to go into the store again. I haven't found anything good in years. I'm looking at the DVDs. I'm looking at VHS. I'm looking at books. I'm like, this is crap. I take a turn. There's a giant basket of just random stuffed animals thrown in there. I'm like, I haven't seen anything good in here in years. And then I find something. I'm like, it's got to be reproduction. I don't see a .com thing on there. I don't see a barcode on there, but I can't find a year. But the fact that on the tag, I don't see a .com makes me think it is actually vintage. You two be the judge. Wow. I do believe this is an original Rainbow Bright.
Yeah, it's
here's
got
a little messed up.
Star and everything.
Yeah, the star. Stuff looks pretty correct. Tag, no year, but no like .com or anything. So I feel like it is. So I had to grab it. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like I can't sit here and comb its hair. Oh, geez,
yeah, I have a beat up teeny one here. Yeah, so I don't know because the hair color's a little different.
Yeah, so I really don't know. I'm gonna probably end up doing some research on it just to make sure. But I'm almost positive it is. I cannot sit down as a 40-something-year-old male and comb its hair without, like I mentioned earlier, being put on some sort of list. But I really want to like clean it up and just put it as a display thing at some point. I did debate on just having it sit here for the whole time. Like when we signed in, just it was already here for the video. But I decided to wait till last.
That's cool though. Yeah.
I'll never give up on your thrift stores. You never know what you'll find.
I never give up on Chris, who always comes through in the end and blows our minds. So let's see what you got this time.
All right. I got something insane. I had to grab it because I thought it was just amazing. I had what to do with it. Probably go up to a flea market because none of my family wanted to wear it. I have a Bob Ross fanny pack. So, or a funny pack as it's referred to. So my teenage children did not want to wear it to school. I don't know why. I thought it was pretty amazing. They could store their school supplies in it. But nope.
It's called a funny. I'm sorry. The funny pack got me. I did not see it coming at all.
Watched one of Adam's new YouTube show recently where I had Chad on there talking about cups. And I found this awesome Ninja Turtle cup this weekend and thought of that show. I have a ton of different cups sort of similar to this. I have a Mad Balls one. I think I have a Wussels one and a couple other, or Popples. I can't remember. I have a couple different cups of this type of plastic. It's that weird, like white, sort of shiny plastic. It feels like it's probably toxic, but I think we survived. In a little dollar bin, I always buy toy guns that were made pre-orange caps and couldn't pass on this Knickerbocker Luger.
Is it metal or plastic?
It's plastic. It's a squirt gun. It does have one little red piece on it on the back where you
fill
it with water, but yeah.
I thought it was like a cap gun or something, honestly.
Nope, squirt gun. So I saw that. I was like, how much is it? I expect the guy to say like $5 or $6. He's like, oh, how about a $2? And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I have a buddy that always buys military, like vintage military toys from me. Thinking of your other show, Adam, and your love of 90s comics. I didn't even realize they made Barbaric of Freak Force into an action figure, but apparently he's part of the Savage Dragon line.
Yeah, Playmates.
I don't know. Did they make Ricochet his partner?
Nope. They don't make girl toys. It's the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she didn't quite fit the 90s aesthetic, I think. for those type of toys. She was strangely more clothed than most of them.
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of a line called Definitely Dinosaurs?
Mm-mm.
I think it's Fisher Price. They were awesome because they're dinosaurs, and they came with these little cavemen who had crazy
That's where those are
afros
from?
or weird facial hair. They were like the most 70s looking cavemen ever. And I got a whole bag of them at like a flea market dealer, and he didn't have too much on. I ended up getting a deal on these and a bunch of other things.
So no dinosaurs, just cavemen?
I've never really come across the dinosaurs. The only definitely dinosaurs I have, I think, were Burger King promos. Like there are these rubber dinosaur toys. They're either Burger King or Wendy. And I collect all those because I found a bunch of different color schemes of them that I didn't realize existed. There was one dealer at the flea market selling just random stuff. And a lot like almost like a junk dealer. You feel like you're going to Toshi Station to pick up your power converters. He's just got tons of stuff. Nothing's priced. You sort of have to just ask the old man, and he has like 3 booths worth of stuff, so he's never where you need to ask him. And his helpers basically always tell you, oh, you have to ask him, it's his stuff. So I ended up doing a package deal on a bunch of things, but this was one of them because I didn't have it yet. And the box is hashed, but it's still sealed, so it's fine because this is one I wanted to take out and display anyway. And I ended up getting this and the Star Wars Navarro Cantina sealed still for $35, which is less than the price of a brand new DeLorean. So those I couldn't pass on. And then I dug around a little bit more at his booth and found this amazing piece of nostalgia. I don't know about you guys. I do know you collect cards, but I know you're not really into the sports ball aspect of them. But this Topps baseball card collecting kit was still complete with packs and the binder, the paperwork on how to collect cards. Mm-hmm. I loved these things. I had comic book versions of them. Like I remember getting stuff like this for Christmas and my birthdays. And I know they came out of like a Sears or J.C. Penney's catalog. But I saw that for $15 and it's still sealed. This one is from like 1991. So all the cards are from 1991 and they're all sort of beat up because they've just sort of been bouncing around in there. But it was definitely worth grabbing. The interesting thing about the binder is almost exactly like some other Topps binders I have, except those were all O-rings because they're from 1986. And since this was from the 90s, it's a D-ring. So it's actually more useful for being a card binder because O-rings are not great for your cards if you put too many of the pages in there. Yeah. Adam, from the Goonies shirt to some of the toy finds, apparently we're channeling each other this month because I found this guy and I had to grab him because I was like, you know who loves California raisin stuff? That'd be Adam.
Yeah.
So I had to grab that. Because we are thrift, and I want to emphasize, a lot of times I buy stuff at like collector values. I do get stuff on the cheap, but usually not great. The stuff I get on the cheap is usually parts or pieces, and it's not high dollar stuff. But one of the dealers had all these Mario Lego sets. And to tell you the truth, I was not a fan of this version. I wish they would have made minifigure Mario figures instead of like the game or whatever they made them. I'm not really sure what they did with them. But this booth had them. And they're all sitting on his most of the stuff in this booth is like $3 to $10 stuff. Like tons of just like Happy Meal toys for $3 and stuff. Nothing I'm interested in. So I asked the kid, I go, how much are the Lego sets? I was just curious because they look like they're sealed. And he goes, he's hemming and hawing. He goes, how about $5 a piece? And knowing how much these things are in stores, I was like, I have to grab that. $5 a piece. That's just like $15 for these 3 sets. I left one of them that was just too beat that I couldn't confirm it was still all there. But 2 of them are still sealed. One was open, but I went through it and all the pieces are there, or in sealed bags still. So I was like, even if I don't like this, I think I can get my money back and make some of my money back from the spending I did at this show. My girl Phyllis, my vintage dealer, she came through on me again on this end. Got myself a nice old Yoda. They call it a puppet, but you can't really make him do much except sort of nod his head. So I can make him agree. He can agree with you a lot. And I've wanted one of these for a bit. She gave it to me for a pretty decent little deal. Going back to the 80s, it's not the main characters, but it is Rio from Jim. Definitely one going to be going onto my sales, onto one of my sales floors when I do another vintage toy show, because Jim's not my thing. My wife loves Barbie. She's got most of the rockers, so those are the ones we usually go for. I did buy a Barbie at the show, mainly because I can't pass on anything that's Toys R Us related. And so this one, it's not a super valuable one, but it has like a Cabbage Patch Kid and Hot Wheels set and a Toys R Us shopping bag. I was like, I gotta grab that.
What's the significance of the 50 on the packaging there?
It was Toys R Us's 50th anniversary, apparently.
Oh,
I didn't know they were that old. That's
I didn't either, but apparently they are. That was pretty cool. I had never seen that before, and I'm like, okay, that's going into the Toys R Us collection. Another thing I picked up, cool little Buddy L police set. I love these little just die-cast, like pressed steel toys. I have the Spider-Man set, but out of the box. I love that they're just basically the same thing. They just give them repaints for whatever they wanted to make them do. I did get some plush. I got Cap'n. He was sitting at a booth. I also got the Captain Crunch comic book, which I'd never seen before, from like 1987, I think, or 86. The lady wasn't really willing to deal too much, but she did give me $1 or $2 off. Another booth. It's a little smaller, but I'll show it. Got a little wind up General Lee. Found that at a booth. I've had these in the past. They come and go out of the collection. They're pretty neat. I have a couple different versions of the General Lee. Pass on that. And then I'll go to the last 2 big things I got. So Adam, you sort of saw a preview of this one. And this came from my vintage dealer, a Glowworm Glowland playset. And she threw in, there's like 10 glowworms in there too. So it's a full playset. It's complete. Stickers are all pretty nice. I'd never seen this before. I'm a sucker for 80s and 90s playsets, especially when they still have the box. So I had to grab that. And then the big finale. This is the one I normally, when I go to the show, I usually spend some money. Like usually I'll buy a lot of stuff for cheap, but I'll try to find one thing that's valuable for my personal collection. I'll buy it less than eBay prices, but I usually spend more than, it's not just, I'm not getting it for $5. And I do collect soda cans and I collect 80s toys. So when I saw this Computer Warriors still sealed in the box, I couldn't pass on it. I had to grab it. The guy cut me a deal on it, and I couldn't say yes fast enough. He had almost the full line sealed, it looked like, and he was selling different ones, and this is the one I decided to zero in on because it's just, well, it's a Pepsi can. It's beautiful. And that's the end of all the fun loot I got this week. There's other stuff I posted on social media, just because we'd be going for another couple hours if I didn't.
all right. Well, good stuff this time around, guys. Wow, just there's always a surprise in there. There's always something that makes our jaws drop. So very, very cool. Glad we've been successful out in our hunting, but we got another month ahead of us, gentlemen. So get ready, and you out there watching, stay subscribed. Keep an eye out for the notification of the newest video going up for you in May. But hey, until next time, we'll check you later.
This has been a presentation of Geekster Media.